Brothers and sisters in Christ, throughout history, God has manifested signs and wonders through extraordinary Eucharistic miracles around the world. Each of these divine events draws us closer to understanding the profound mysteries of our faith. However, the miracle we discuss today stands out in its uniqueness and is readily verifiable by all who seek the truth. Dear brothers, take a few minutes to listen to this incredible story, and I am sure that by the end of this video, you will be moved to see how God truly is present in our lives and leaves signs of His presence for all those still seeking confirmation. The Eucharistic miracle of the holy particles preserved in the Basilica of San Francesco in Siena is truly unique. It differs from others because, usually, when such miracles occur, the hosts transform into flesh and blood, often into a piece of cardiac muscle, the myocardium. In this case, however, it is the consecrated particles themselves that have been preserved intact for over 290 years, defying the laws of nature. Let's consider the facts. On August 14, 1730, on the eve of the Assumption, someone stole a silver pyx containing 351 consecrated hosts from the Basilica of San Francesco. The people of Siena were devastated by this vile act and held processions and prayers to atone for the sacrilege. By the grace of God, 3 days later, on August 17th, in the sanctuary of Santa Maria in Provenzano, an altar boy noticed something white in a donation box. They were indeed the stolen hosts, which were devoutly collected and placed in a new pyx. The discovery was celebrated throughout the city with adorations, processions, and solemn celebrations. It was decided not to consume the particles, but to preserve them for veneration to repair the desecration. Thus, the pyx containing them was sealed and devoutly guarded. After 30 years, an inspection confirmed that the particles were intact, fresh as if just consecrated. Over the years, they were checked repeatedly and always found incorrupt, despite being transferred, counted, and thus touched by many hands, exposed to the air. This is truly inexplicable. Given their composition, they would be highly perishable, easily attacked by molds and decomposed by microorganisms. Tiberio Borghese, who was Archbishop of Siena from 1772 for 20 years, amazed that the holy particles were intact after 40, 50 years, sought to conduct a control test. He had some unconsecrated particles sealed in a container. After 10 years, the condition of the hosts was checked, and only worms and crumbs of decomposed bread were found. This is what happens to all organic substances. They decompose. Not so for the holy particles, which at every inspection always appear fresh, intact, physically uncorrupted, chemically pure, and show no signs of decay. In 1914, they were subjected to thorough chemical and biological analyses. The result was that the particles, which had retained their original appearance, were still composed of unleavened bread flour, without bacteria, molds, or mites, which instead were found on the internal walls of the pyx in which they were preserved. The conclusion of the report drafted by the scientists who performed the analyses states, "The holy particles of Siena are a classic example of the perfect preservation of unleavened bread particles consecrated in the year 1730, and constitute a singular phenomenon, pulsating with current relevance that reverses the natural laws of the conservation of organic matter. It is strange, it is surprising, it is abnormal. The laws of nature have been inverted. Glass has become a site of molds. Unleavened bread has instead been more resistant than crystal. It is a unique fact consecrated in the annals of science." On September 10, 2014, 100 years after the last analysis, a new inspection was conducted on the hosts, which confirms that the holy particles preserved in the Basilica of San Francesco in Siena are still miraculously intact, against all natural laws. The remaining particles are now 223, not 351, because those that were missing, after being subjected to so many analyses, were distributed as communion to the faithful, to confirm that even the taste was not altered. No one found any difference from the taste of those just consecrated. For the Church, this supernatural event is permanent thanks to the real presence of the body of Jesus Christ in the consecrated hosts. That of Siena is a continuous Eucharistic miracle, because we are not before a relic of what happened in 1730, as occurs when the particle or the wine turns into flesh and blood. There is the real presence of Jesus Eucharist, because the bread has remained fresh over time. The Catechism, at number 1377, declares, "The Eucharistic presence of Christ begins at the moment of consecration and continues as long as the Eucharistic species subsist." This is well understood significantly by what John Paul II said on September 14, 1980, visiting Siena. The Pontiff, after having paused in adoration before the holy particles, with great emotion whispered, "It is the presence." Let this miracle of Siena remind us of the power and grace that flow through our active and conscious participation in the Holy Eucharist. As John Paul II recognized, let us echo his whisper, "It is the presence," and recognize in it the beating heart of our faith, the love of Christ that never ceases to nourish, renew, and sanctify the Church and the whole world. Dear brothers and sisters, reflect on this extraordinary sign, share in the comments what you think, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss new videos and become part of the community of faith and prayer. May God bless us all.